here on the I-5 bridge heading from Washington to Oregon again. It's nothing exciting or new, just cars and trucks and boats and ships and probably some airplanes flying over and a bunch of green rails on the bridge and some guy looks a lot like me driving a truck through town. It's just life as I know it. Nothing that anyone else could be interested in or impressed by. So I'm sorry you're watching this video. This is when you click stop and move on with your life. Go on. I'll wait a minute. Oh, and birds too. There's a seagull up there. And McDonald's. Did you click stop? Huh? I can still hear you. What are you eating? Stop that. Put it down. You're going to get crumbs in your keyboard. Whoa, there's a lot more people trying to go to Washington than there are trying to come to Oregon right now. That works out good for me, I guess. I'd rather be in the lesser amount of traffic anyway. Yeah, life is good for old men. I consider myself old now. Though I'm not as old as I intend to be. There's a blimp up there. That's not the Goodrich blimp or Goodyear blimp or whatever it is. Just some kind of mock-up advertising scheme over here at some store. Don't worry about it. So, it's summer. Summer in Oregon. This is it. It doesn't get much more exciting than this, I'll tell you. Summer in Oregon. Yes, sirree. I was thinking about this economy that we live in, you know, the democracy thing. It's kind of an interesting concept. Our company charges people too much for the stuff we sell them because every other company does the same thing, and that makes it so we all have enough money to go buy the stuff from the other companies that are charging too much for their stuff. You know, it's called profit margin. It's just the way it works. It's not a bad thing, or it's not bad unless it gets, you know, kind of distorted by human greed or something like that, and then people get gouged real bad from one business more than another or something like that. Like, you know, the oil companies, or there's a long list of people that just see what they can get away with, I think. But anyways, we complain a lot too, and that doesn't really help the matter any. So all in all, though, it seems to be a fairly good system compared with anything else that it you know, competes with on the planet. So in spite of all its downfalls and shortcomings, it seems to be okay. I like the idea of having opportunities to learn not to be greedy and things like that. I've got a lot to learn about holy living, you know, in general. About doing things right. But right now I'm just learning patience. I'm going 10 miles an hour on the freeway where the speed limit's 55. If we had the opportunity, we'd all be doing 65 because we don't pay any attention to the speed limits anyways. That there's one of them smart cars in front of me there. Smart car. I don't know how much those cost, but I think it's like 20,000 bucks or more probably. You think? 15 maybe? I don't know. Either way, that's a lot of money for somebody to have to spend to go save money on gasoline. Don't you think? I'm too smart to buy a smart car. That's what I'm trying to say. If I were to go out and sell my Ford F-150 that gets 17 miles per gallon and put $10,000 worth of money I got for it to go buy me a smart car, how long would it take me to earn the money back in gasoline savings? Do you think? Somebody figure that out and leave me a comment. It'll just change my whole life. I won't have to worry about whether I'm too smart to buy a smart car anymore or not. Right now I'm too dumb to know if I'm too smart to buy a smart car. It's bugging the snot out of me. An uncommon amount of smoke ahead in the road. I'm just wondering what it is. I hope we're not all gonna die. The funny part is, we are all gonna die. Probably doesn't have anything to do with this smoke, but it's a true thing. I know it's not much fun to think about, but that doesn't make it any less true. Yeah, this business of living and dying is interesting to contemplate, I'll tell you that. It doesn't come up much in your thought process, the idea of dying. But I had it occur to me yesterday. I was just sitting at the computer and all of a sudden my heart felt funny. It really did. It just like it's not like it stopped beating, but like it started beating 100 times a second or something, you know, and it was just fluttering or something. And I felt dizzy and felt a little pain, and not much, but a little. It just was weird in ways I can't articulate. I didn't like it. It scared me. I felt my pulse and I couldn't feel it. I got up and stood up and walked around and stood still and thought about it and held my hand on my pulse for a while. And I was talking to my roommate and I didn't even tell him about it, but he probably wondered what in the world was the matter with me for taking my pulse for a couple of minutes like that. He didn't say anything, so I didn't say anything either. But then I felt a little bit better, checked my pulse again, and it was beating again. But I thought maybe I was going to die for a minute there. I actually checked in with the Lord after a few seconds of having it occur to me. I asked Him to make sure and forgive me for anything I'd done wrong and hadn't asked Him to forgive me for. Because if I was going now, I didn't want to go any place except where He was. Lord, help me to live the kind of life I should, so that if my heart stops, I don't have to have a few seconds to have it occur to me that I ought to be prayed up. Well, we ought to all be living prayed up all the time, just in eager anticipation of not having to pick our noses while we're making videos on YouTube and having our heart stop when we're sitting around at the computer and stuff like that. Just be ready to go, so if whatever happens, happens. When that giant cargo plane gets out of control and lands on your company van when you're not expecting it, and you just die, the next thing you see when you look up is the face of Jesus Himself. That's what you want. Well, it is. It's what you want. So, anyways, what a world we live in. Yes, sirree. I know that when things happen to people, they tend to talk about it more than maybe other people are interested. And if you do it on YouTube in a vlog, and somebody else ends up having to watch it for just part of the unfortunate circumstances of their life, why, it's even sillier, you know, from that perspective. But the truth is, this business of thinking about dying has some value. If you don't consider it, you forfeit some options, rather profound options. I mean, if you don't give yourself the chance to prepare for dying, you're just not being responsible to yourself. Every single human body that's ever been gifted with life, heartbeat by heartbeat, we never have any more guarantee than the last heartbeat that we had. But anybody who's ever had this beautiful gift of life is going to lose it one day. That's just the way it is. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, but none of us has figured out how to do anything about it yet. But those of us who read the Bible and believe in God, we have hope over that. And it's a legitimate, rational, realistic hope that makes sense. So I just want to recommend it to YouTube today. If you're watching this, hey, it won't hurt you to think about it. It's good stuff. The idea of spending forever in paradise, what's to complain about, you know? Some little minor inconveniences of having to put up with people who haven't figured it out yet, and they're not-headed attitudes towards the Bible or Jesus Christ being the Son of God or any of those kinds of things. That's minor compared to forever. Who's not being rational here?